Hi, welcome to Mama Jasmine's food journey. If this is your first time to the channel, I want to say welcome aboard and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. If it's not your first time to the channel, I want to say welcome back, and you're going to have an amazing breakfast for you this morning. Now, I got this idea from my sister and my nephew. So for his birthday, he wanted biscuits and gravy. And I thought for a teenager, that was a very interesting choice to make. I mean, it's one of those comforting foods, and it's incredibly easy to make from homemade. But, I mean, normal teenagers want pancakes and waffles, so I was like impressed. I was like, I think I need to make myself some biscuits and gravy. I actually haven't had them in a couple years, and I used to make them a lot with my foster parents. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the video, and hopefully your stomach is ready for all this action. Let's do it. All right, here are 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a grated ½ cup of butter. So I put it in the freezer for a few minutes just to make sure it is nice and cold, because I'm going to be manipulating the flour and the dough together in my hands. So I feel like if the colder it is, the better results I'm going to have that flaky, buttery layers that I want. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to add in the rest of my dry ingredients, which is baking powder, salt, and sugar. That's my secret little ingredient, like a pinch of sugar. And then you're going to combine all those together. Now, I made a well and did about half of the amount of milk inside. So I'm going to do it in 2 batches in order to make sure everything's incorporated. Now, I'm not going to use my hand to mix this. I'm going to use a fork, but I wanted to get the flour kind of over it to start getting it soaked into the mixture. And now that the majority of the milk is incorporated, I'm going to add in the rest of the milk. Now, if you want to take this up a notch, definitely use buttermilk. But I had milk on hand and I did not feel like making it sour, so I just went straight good old milk. Now, do not work this and knead this too much in the bowl. You're gonna make sure that it's just incorporated before you put it on the flour surface. Because once you get it on the flour surface, you're gonna knead it just until it forms a ball. We're not gonna do like a pie crust, because you're not forming gluten strands inside the dough. You're just gonna make sure that it's mixed together. Now that it's a nice ball, we're gonna go ahead and immediately roll this out. So the great thing about this dough is you don't have to wait for it. If you feel like your environment's too hot, your hands are very hot, or your kitchen is very hot, make sure you put this in the fridge for about 5 to 10 minutes to keep that butter cold inside of it. I went ahead and just got as much flour on the rolling pin as possible, and we're gonna roll this out to about a ½ inch in thickness. We don't want it too skinny, because then it's not going to be the desired fluffiness that we want. Now, this recipe should yield about 8 biscuits. That's what I got from mine. If you get 12, it depends on the size of your cutter and how big you want your biscuits to be. I wanted mine pretty big, so I actually used a very special tool to my heart to get this shape cut out. Just kidding. I used the mason ring. You use what you got, honey. If you have a biscuit cutter, by all means, please use it. But if you are like me, where you're balling on a budget, you use what you got. And me, like I said, I wanted the bigger biscuit, so that worked perfectly for the recipe. Now, you put them on an ungreased baking sheet. So I have a cookie sheet. I feel like it helps me get the off, and we go ahead and attend to the sausage. So while I was making the biscuit dough, I had the sausage going, so it was already ready to go. And we're gonna add in a couple tablespoons of flour. Like I said, measurements are in the description box down below. And a little bit of butter. I feel like the butter adds a silky velvetness to it besides what the other ingredients are, but it just adds an extra, trust me. I just finished my plate just now while I'm editing this, and it was so worth it. All right, you're gonna add in about 1/3 of the amount of the milk, because what you wanna do is we're gonna start making a bechamel, essentially. So we are doing milk and flour together with the roux. And you're gonna make sure that it's nice and completely thick. It almost should look like a sloppy Joe mix. Then you're gonna add in some more milk. Now that you've gotten that incorporated, you're gonna add in the last of your milk, and this is when you're gonna add in your seasonings. So you guys know me, I love my fresh cracked peppercorns, and I feel like in a biscuits and gravy recipe, if you don't have thick pieces of pepper in your gravy, you are absolutely doing it wrong. So I made sure to get that, and then I did some regular salt. I have used up my sea salt, so boo to myself, boo. So I use regular table salt. And you're gonna make sure that that gets nice and thick. And you're gonna get out your biscuits from the oven, and you are going to put them on the plate. I also forgot to mention that the biscuits cook at 425, but I'm gonna put that in the description box down below and on the blog. But can you see the steam coming off of these biscuits? That's shenanigans. And then the hot, thick gravy on the top. This was a recipe that is near and dear to my heart from how many times and how many variations I've had it. Of course, topped with black pepper. I mean, not a monster. But I hope you enjoy and it fills your belly as well as it fills mine. See you in the next video.